If you're a small business owner, you're already juggling 1,000 things at once, right? Sales, operations, customer service, the list just goes on. But there's one thing that, if you let it slide, can bring that whole operation crashing down, and that's cybersecurity. Today, we're going to dig into the real, honest cost of an attack and why it might just be the biggest risk your business is facing.
So let me ask you this, and be honest. Have you ever thought, my business is way too small to be a target for hackers? You know, that feeling that cybercriminals are only interested in the big fish, the giant corporations. Is that what you've been thinking? Well, the reality is pretty shocking. According to Accenture, a staggering 43% of all cyber attacks are aimed directly at small businesses. That's nearly half of them. This isn't some random coincidence. It's a deliberate strategy by attackers. So if you think you're flying under the radar, you might want to think again.
And that leads us to the big question. Why? I mean, why would a criminal waste their time on a local shop or a small firm instead of a huge global company? Well, it turns out there are some very, very good reasons.
It's because attackers see small businesses as soft targets. See, they're not looking for a big challenge, they're looking for the easiest way to make a buck. And a lot of the time, that path of least resistance leads straight to a small business.
So what does it mean to be a soft target? Well, it really comes down to a few key things. First, fewer resources. We're talking smaller IT budgets, maybe not having a dedicated security expert on staff. Second, there's less employee training. You'd be shocked how many breaches are just because of simple human error, but only about a third of small businesses actually train their people on this stuff. And finally, looser security policies just make it way easier for bad guys to get in.
Okay, so understanding why you're a target is step one. Now, let's talk about what's really at stake when an attack actually works. The financial fallout can be so much worse than most business owners could ever imagine.
Get this, the average cost of a single data breach for a small business is a mind-blowing $200,000. For many, that number alone could be a fatal blow. But believe it or not, that's often just where the financial pain begins.
Because one successful attack, it starts a domino effect. First, you've got the immediate cost of recovery, hiring experts to clean up the mess. Then you've got lost sales because your operations are down. After that, the regulatory fines and even lawsuits can start piling up. And all the while, you're losing customers who just don't trust you anymore. Each one of these costs just stacks on top of the last, and suddenly you're in a massive financial hole.
And this isn't just theoretical. The real-world impact is brutal. 41% of breaches lead to some kind of serious legal trouble. That's almost a coin flip chance you'll end up in court. Just think about this one case. A manufacturing firm lost $180,000 in revenue from a single attack. Just 4 months later, they had to file for bankruptcy. These aren't just numbers on a chart. These are events that end businesses.
But it's not just about the money. There is an even more valuable asset on the line, your reputation. And that kind of damage can stick around for years, long after you fix the technical problems.
And the numbers, they really tell the story. Look at what happens after a breach. Almost a third of businesses say their brand was seriously damaged. 30% lost clients for good, and nearly that same number said they just couldn't win new business anymore. You're not just plugging a security hole, you're trying to piece back together a shattered reputation.
This quote really gets to the heart of it. You can, eventually, recover from financial loss. But once you lose your customers' trust, winning that back is almost impossible. And that trust is literally the foundation your business is built on.
Okay, I know that was a lot of pretty scary information, but the point here isn't to freak you out. It's to get you prepared. So let's pivot. Let's talk about the solution. How do you go from being a soft target to being a fortress?
First things first, it starts with a change in mindset. Cybersecurity is not just some tech problem you can hand off to your IT person. It is a fundamental business risk, just like finances or competition. It has to be part of your core strategy, right from the get-go.
So where do you even start? Well, here are 4 pillars for a really strong defense. Number 1, employee training. Your team is your first and best line of defense. 2, have an incident response plan. And this is shocking, only 14% of small businesses actually have one. 3, keep all your software updated, all of it. And 4, get cybersecurity insurance. It could be the one thing that helps you survive the financial hit if the worst happens. And investing in security isn't just about avoiding a catastrophe. It's about building a better, stronger business. The payoff is huge.
You minimize your financial risk, you actually improve your reputation, and honestly, you gain a real competitive advantage in a world where customers are thinking more and more about who they can trust.
All right, to wrap this all up, I want to leave you with one final reality check. Because after hearing about the solutions, I know it can be easy to say, okay, I'll get to that later. But the cost of doing nothing, that's the biggest risk of all.
Just look at this comparison. It's really eye-opening. Recent surveys show most small business owners think a breach would cost them maybe around $10,000. But the reality? The actual average cost is closer to $149,000. That is almost 15 times higher. That massive gap between what people think it costs and what it really costs, that's where businesses fail. Underestimating the threat means you're going to underprepare for it.
I'll leave you with this last thought. In the world we live in today, cyber attacks are no longer a question of if they will happen, but when. The threats are real, they are sophisticated, and they are absolutely targeting businesses just like yours. Waiting is simply not an option. The time to build your defense is right now.